Okay, so let me tell you about one of the absolute strangest, most top-secret weapons programs of World War II. It was a plan to unleash a literal army of tiny, winged commandos on the Empire of Japan.
Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds like something straight out of a comic book, right? But the thing is, the United States government took this question very, very seriously. The plan was to turn one of nature's most misunderstood creatures into a weapon of mass destruction. And believe it or not, it came way closer to happening than you'd ever imagine.
So, at first glance, this just looks like a standard bomb casing from that era. But what was inside was anything but standard. See, this device wasn't designed for your typical explosives. Nope, it was basically a flying bat carrier, an arc, designed to deploy over 1,000 tiny living fire starters.
So, where on earth did an idea this bizarre even come from? You'd probably guess some rogue general or a mad scientist, but the truth, well, the truth is even stranger.
That's right, it's 1942. Just a month after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and a dentist named Lytle Adams sends a letter to the White House. He'd recently visited the bat-filled Carlsbad Caverns, and it sparked an idea. He knew the Japanese cities were mostly built from wood and paper, and he saw a very unique opportunity.
Now, Adams wasn't just thinking tactically. He was thinking on an almost biblical scale. He genuinely believed that these creatures were, as he put it, created for this exact moment, to fight for freedom. It's a pretty wild glimpse into the mind that started this whole thing.
Look, an eccentric idea from a dentist is one thing, but for it to become a multi-million-dollar, top-secret military program, well, that's going to require some serious buy-in from the very top.
And incredibly, Adams' idea lands right on the desk of President Franklin D. Roosevelt himself, who actually saw some potential. With this one simple note, FDR gave the bat bomb the green light it needed. And just like that, the official program, codenamed Project X-Ray, was born.
So who exactly do you hire to build a bat bomb? I mean, a mammologist, okay, that makes sense. The inventor of napalm, Louis Fieser, he was a key recruit. But the rest of the team? This is where it gets crazy. You've got a Hollywood actor, a former gangster, and a hotel manager. It was just this bizarre collection of talent for an equally bizarre mission.
So, with the president's approval and this motley crew assembled, the team faced a pretty monumental task. How in the world do you actually turn a tiny bat into a functioning weapon?
They basically had three huge problems to solve. First, they had to find the absolute perfect bat for the job. Second, they needed to engineer a tiny little incendiary device that it could carry. And third, they had to figure out how to drop thousands of them from a plane and have them all scatter effectively.
After testing a bunch of different species, they finally landed on the Mexican free-tailed bat. Why? Well, they were strong, there were millions of them, and they flew for long distances. And to transport them, the team came up with this brilliantly simple solution. They put them into hibernation by cooling them down in, of all things, refrigerated ice cube trays.
Now check out these numbers, because this is incredible. A tiny half-ounce bat could carry an incendiary device that actually weighed more than it did. The device itself was a miniature canister of napalm, just glued right onto the bat, and it was set on a timer. So how many of these little napalm-strapped commandos could you fit into one of those bomb casings we saw earlier? A staggering 1,040. Think about that. A single bomb could unleash a self-deploying swarm of over 1,000 individual fire starters.
So the theory was sound, and the engineering was pretty clever. But now it was time to test it all in the real world. And this is where the project proved to be both a spectacular success and an absolute disaster.
It's May 1943, at a test range in New Mexico. The team is getting ready for a big demonstration, but something goes wrong. A handful of the bats, already armed with their timed incendiaries, get loose before the test is even supposed to begin.
And this accident, ironically, demonstrated the weapon's terrifying potential perfectly. The bats did exactly what they were supposed to do. They flew off and found dark, hidden places to roost. Unfortunately for the Army, those places were the rafters of the brand new air base. The whole base, and even a general's personal car, were burned to a crisp.
The project was almost canceled right then and there, but the team managed to get one more chance. Out at the Dugway Proving Ground in Utah, they built a full-scale replica of a Japanese village. This time, the test went off without a hitch. The bats were released, they found places to roost, and the entire village was consumed by fire.
And this table right here shows you exactly why the military was so intrigued. Observers calculated that a single plane loaded with these bat bombs can start nearly 10 times more fires than a plane with a conventional load of incendiaries. The potential was just undeniable.
So, let's recap. We have a bizarre, yet proven weapon that's projected to be wildly effective. So, why was it never used? Why did Project X-Ray just become this forgotten footnote of the war?
Well, after that little incident with the fire at Carlsbad, the project got handed off from the Army Air Force to the Navy and then over to the Marines. It kind of got bounced around. And then in mid-1944, after they had spent about $2 million, that's over $30 million in today's money, Fleet Admiral Ernest King shut it down for good.
Really, the problem was time. Project X-Ray probably wasn't going to be combat ready until the middle of 1945, and by that point, another, far more powerful secret weapon was nearing completion out in the New Mexico desert. The bat bomb was simply outpaced by the atomic bomb.
In the end, the head of R&D for the OSS just dismissed the whole thing as Die Fledermaus farce, the bat farce. It's a really strange legacy for a weapon that, by all accounts, actually worked. A weapon that proved that a handful of tiny animals really could burn down an entire military base. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if it hadn't been a farce at all?